Welcome back. Now we're on Module 5, which, wow, we're almost through all 7 of these secrets, which I know I've given you more than that, but at least there's 7 modules to go through. And this module is focused on clarity and creation focus. So, what do I mean by clarity? Clarity is when we are certain about what we want in our life and who we are, what our purpose is, what we're here for, what we're going to do, how we're going to spend our time. And it's good to always revisit clarity and make sure that we're certain what we want and what that looks like. One of my favorite activities to show a visual representation of clarity is to create a vision board. A lot of people are familiar with that, some people aren't, so I'll explain it in case you aren't. But a vision board is where you get a bunch of images that will represent different aspects of your life and what you want to have in the future. If you want a loving relationship, for example, then you find an image that represents that for you and you put it on your vision board. And after you've created your vision board, then you hang it up somewhere where you can see it. I'm going to tell you that a vision board is really powerful, way powerful. Even if you didn't hang it up, just taking the time to create it, to make it physical, where you can see it, it's not just in your mind anymore, and you physically created it, is very powerful. Because I'm going to tell you that there was a time that I made a vision board and I put on it certain things that I wanted in my life, and then I put the vision board away, completely tucked away, out of sight, out of mind, but I'd created it. A few months later, I came across it when I was cleaning up some things and organizing things, and I pulled it out and I about had my mouth drop open. Because as I was looking over it, I realized, oh my goodness, I have actually had a lot of this happen in just the last 4 months. Like my first book sales, I was able to have my royalty check increase. I had, found the house that, I'm living in now. I was able to, get a car when I graduated because my husband got it for me. But, I was like, okay, when I get my bachelor's degree, I'm going to graduate, with a 3.8 or higher, and I'm going to end up with a car, and even visualized a certain job, and I even had gotten that job, which I'm glad I didn't stay there because I'm much happier doing what I do now. But I literally had it happen, and I was amazed because I hadn't even been looking at it every day and focusing on it. And I, if I had, things probably could have even come together even sooner. So I would have kept that clarity and kept straight on what I wanted. But there were things that hadn't happened. And I looked at those too. And it's like, okay, so I want to focus on these things so that I can, move forward towards those goals as well. And there is one goal that I have that's still from that vision board, and I'm going to make it happen. And I just haven't decided for sure where it's going to happen. I've narrowed down 2 possibilities. There's one I want a little bit more, so it might be that way, but some of you who live near the ocean are going to be like, what? But I want to see the ocean. I haven't seen the ocean in person. I've only seen it, in videos or movies or on TV. I actually haven't stood on a shore looking at an ocean or stepped into an ocean, and that's something I want to do, but I want it to be special. So I thought about, maybe taking a trip with my kids to one of these more private beaches so that it's not overcrowded and can just enjoy the nature. Or I've thought about going to Fiji with my husband, which is something I actually do visualize as a way that I celebrate my success when I've reached these different goals that I have. And not all my goals are monetary. For example, one of them is to be able to change the lives of 1 million people. to reach 1 million people and having a positive effect on them. And that's, not easy to trace, because I do a lot of stuff that's for free and people view it and I have no idea how much they've taken in or how much their lives have changed. And then they can take that same knowledge and help their friends, help their family, help their kids. But that's just one of the things I visualize, is that I'm going to help more than 1 million people. At least 1 million people, I will help them change their lives. And I'm very clear on that in my visualization, and I do it every day. And I'm clear that I'm going to see the ocean, and when I see it, it's going to be with my husband and it's going to be romantic. And then I'm also going to see it with my kids, and they're older now. And so, like, they'll bring their spouse or just themselves if they aren't yet married, and we're going to see the ocean. That's something we're just going to do. And I've decided, it's a must for me. It's something I want to accomplish. And, it can be as simple as that, or it can be much bigger. I have other things I'm very clear on, like I'm going to be debt free. I'm going to completely have my house and everything paid off, so that I can take all the money that I make and invest it and be able to become an even bigger philanthropist than I am now. That I'll be able to help a lot more people have clean and safe drinking water, because, like some of you know, I support charity water, and a percentage of my sales go to that. And then also there's like this scholarship fund that I created for people who buy my coaching and other products. I take a percentage and put it in the scholarship fund for women that are in poverty, so that I can help them, change their mindsets and patterns of behavior, so that they can move from poverty to prosperity, to be able to change their lives. Because I just love doing that. I did that as a talent development specialist when I was in that position, helping find them, jobs and careers and continue their education and things like that. And that's an aspect of something that I still want to do long term as part of my coaching. So I incorporated that into my business plan. And then a percentage also goes to a local community church, to be able to help feed and clothe the hungry and naked here, to help make sure they have shelter. So those things are really important to me, and so I'm very clear on that. That's what I want to do. So your clarity, what your focus is going to be different, but get clear. Make sure that you are very clear on what you want, because as we talked about, your true identity is that you're a goddess in embryo, which means that you can create in your life. Now, I'm not claiming that we can create planets and things like that right now, but what I am saying is that we can create how we feel by what we think, and we can create our future by the choices that we make today. Every little thing that we do adds up to what our future will be. So if we want to be really smart on a subject, then we read books and we go and experience it. I'm not going to say that there isn't a value to books, because there is. There absolutely is. But the more you can immerse yourself in something, then the more that you're going to be able to move through that faster. So, for example, if I wanted to learn Spanish, I'm going to go to Mexico. I'm going to cross the border that's only like 30 miles from me right now. And I'm going to immerse myself in the culture so that I can learn to speak it as fast as they do. Because I have studied in books and stuff, and I can say enough to tell people I don't speak it well enough, and that I'm probably not going to understand everything they say, because they speak so much faster than I comprehend right now. But if I wanted to become really good at Spanish, then I would actually immerse myself in it and do it. So I could create that reality of being a very good speaker of Spanish. And you can create whatever it is that you want. You just have to take steps toward it and visualize it. And I literally, like, people would come into my home when I ran my own childcare business when my kids were really young. They would tell me that my home was the most peaceful and Christian place that they'd ever been. But that's because I created it that way. I would put on music, I'd burn incense, I would take time to relax, drink some herbal tea, um, read scriptures and positive talks, and it just created that atmosphere. And just like you can create the atmosphere in your home, you can create your life. And like I said, if you want to have a better relationship, then train yourself to learn all you can about it and how to do it. There's tons of master classes like this one that are out there, and there's some great relationship courses. Like, I was able to improve in my marriage because of courses and people that touched my life. Love and Respect is one of the awesome programs that I used. I'll share that with you. And then also there is Stacy and Paul, and they have great relationship courses. You can check them out. They're pretty easy to find on Facebook. But there's a lot that you can speed up and create in your life to happen faster if you know very clearly what your goal is and what you want. And the reason why this matters to me is because the more good that we create, the more positive that we create, the more that it lifts the entire society and the family around us. It impacts future generations. As I live good financial principles, I'm creating a good financial future for my children to have them live by those same principles. I wasn't raised with those principles. There are some that I was taught, but not all the principles that I know now. So I'm spending some time in what I call financial repentance, where I'm paying off, my debts completely, and saving more, and taking the steps that I should have taken when I was taught the knowledge originally. I shouldn't say should have, but I could have taken when I was taught originally, but I chose not to at the time. I didn't realize it was a priority. But now, as I live by those principles, I can see these huge changes and huge benefits happening, and I will be able to change future generations. And because of my overall business plan, as I continue to help people and I get rewarded for that eventually, more and more financially, then I will still be able to keep on giving, because that's who I am. So I'll be able to help people have clean and safe drinking water. I have plans to help with building schools in communities that don't have them, and housing and food and shelter, and helping to lift people out of poverty, because there's so many people that have such wonderful talents and abilities and potential, but there's certain things that you believe, the mindset you get stuck in when you're in poverty, that prevent you from seeing the possibilities. And I just want to make sure that I am part of that change for good, and that I am going to do everything I can to defy the odds, to make a difference to each life, like the starfish or that little honeybee that I mentioned earlier. So get clear on what you want in your life, and then realize that it's truly possible for you to create it. When you go into it knowing that you can, you will. You don't need to know how. You just need to know what and why. What it is you want to do and why you want to do it. Like I told you, my what and my why is because I have to, I must, because there's all those people out there waiting for me to touch their lives, to make a difference, to help them have clean water. And the bigger your why is, the more that it really pulls at your heartstrings, the more that you'll be driven to do what it takes to get there. So those are the 2 secrets about getting clarity and creating. And I look forward to when we talk about the prosperity keys in the next module.